Hello, this is Mr. J, coming to you from the Teen Center in the Boys and Girls School of Door County. Today, I'm going to tell you a story of my childhood, something that happened to me in the Maharaja Hotel. So it all starts when I was in 3rd grade. My father was stationed on Clark Air Force Base in the Philippines. Our house wasn't ready when we arrived, so they put us up in the Maharaja Hotel. When we arrived at the Maharaja Hotel, I noticed that it looked like a gigantic square building. There were no windows on the outside. The outside was painted red. There was one entrance. We entered. I noticed there were other families there, and I'm pretty sure they were in the same predicament as us. I noticed there were kids, so as I walked over to the kids, I noticed that there was a gigantic garden in the middle of the Maharaja Hotel. So picture this, a large box with thick walls. In the walls are the hotel rooms. There are no windows in the hotel rooms, just a place for an air conditioner and a door. It's very hot in the Philippines, typically between 90 and 100 degrees every day, and it's humid. Outside of the hotel rooms is a walkway with a wall, and then in the center is a garden. The garden is filled with lots of vegetation, lots of trees, plants, stone structures, paths. Some of the paths have stone, some of them are gravel. In the middle of the garden is a very large fountain with water running. Now, I see this, I'm excited. I meet the kids, we enter the garden, we play games. It's fun. We try to play hide and seek. It's just too bright to play hide and seek, so we all figured, we'll wait till it gets darker. We continue to play tag games. It starts to get dark. As it gets to be about a good point for us to play hide and seek, the guard comes in. Explains to us we have to leave. The garden is closing up for the evening. So, we're disappointed, but we leave. And as soon as the last kid exits the garden, the guard comes over, puts the chain up, closes it off. We are all gathered at the entrance to the garden. I notice the guard stop, turns around, looks at us, walks over and says, there is a reason why we close up the garden at night. At that point, he has everyone's attention. We all turn around and listen. He goes on to explain, guests in the past who have stayed here have explained to us that they had seen and heard odd things occurring in the garden in the evening time. And therefore, for their safety and yours and everyone that stays here at the Maharaja Hotel, we close up the garden at night. And he stands there for a few seconds, smiles, turns around and walks away. At this point, I'm sure everyone had the same thoughts as I had. I turn around, and more than one of us start to speak up. We had to sneak in to see what was in the garden. And to play hide and seek. So I think it would be fun. So we come up with a plan to meet back in 30 minutes and sneak in. I go back to my room, have dinner, drink some water, rehydrate, and come back. Not all of us return, about 8 to 10 of us. We look around, make sure there's nobody, no guards, no guests, and we sneak in. Now, the garden's totally different at night, especially with the fact that there's a full moon. It is nice and bright. It's like a blue luminescence in the garden. It's perfect for hide and seek. The trees and the bushes cast shadows. It's bright enough to where you can see where you're walking, but perfect for hiding spots. But first, we go to the fountain, and we sit down, and we wait. Everyone is looking around, hoping to catch a glimpse of what might be lurking in the garden. We wait, and I remember hearing the bugs, not to mention the fountain behind us. One of the noises that I thought was kind of eerie was the fluttering of something in the air above us. Not quite the sound of birds. But no one was too worried about that, so I paid not much attention to it. So I do find out later on that they are fruit bats. And in the Philippines, there are a lot of fruit bats eating the bugs. But we waited. Nothing happened. Finally, we decide the guard was probably making up this story to scare us so we wouldn't sneak in. We win. 1 for us, 0 for the guard. We are now in the garden, and we are going to play some hide and seek. We decide who's going to be it, and we disperse. Play about 2 games. It's fun. It's great. I come back, and I think to myself, wait a minute, I've got firecrackers in my pocket. I have an idea. So I pull the firecrackers out. Some of the kids see I have firecrackers, and they begin to get excited. And I start pulling them apart. And I explain to them my plan. This is what we're going to do. I'm going to give each one of you some firecrackers, and we're going to make booby traps, so that if there's anything in the garden aside from us, we won't know. And I explain to them how to set the booby traps. What you need to do is you get a rock or some type of hard surface, you set the firecracker on top of it. Mind you, I'm in 3rd grade. You get another rock and put it on top. Therefore, if anything steps on that rock that's on top, it's going to crush the firecracker and cause it to explode. Now you might be thinking to yourself, that's how poppers work, or poppets, or bang pops. But not how firecrackers work. This is how I thought it worked. So, we all set off on our trails, set our booby traps, making sure that we explain to everybody that these are where the traps are so we don't set them off or knock them over. As soon as everything's done, we go back to playing games. Play some more hide and seek. Great fun. I get back probably about the 2nd game, think to myself, okay, I'm on the base, I'm safe. I'm gonna go check my traps. I let everybody know. First few, perfectly fine. However, the second one to the last, I noticed the rock was knocked over. The firecracker wasn't there. Maybe we tripped on it. Someone hit it, knocked it over. So, I checked the very last one. As I get closer, I notice it's completely gone. No rock, no firecracker, gone. I immediately think to myself, someone has taken my firecrackers. And I get upset. I go back to the fountain, where everybody's already there, everybody made it to base, and I confront the group. Hey, who's got my firecrackers? There are 2 traps on my trail that my firecrackers are gone. And everybody's like, well, we don't have any firecrackers. We didn't take anything. Why would we take them? And at that point, one of the boys jumps up and yells out, what's that? And screams and yells and starts running We all get up, yell, and run for the exit the garden, and the boys laughing. We're all outside, and at that point the guard shows up and says, "Hey, everybody, you need to be quiet. There are people sleeping." And we're like, "Oh my God, we're sorry. We'll be quiet. We figure out that they play a joke. He's laughing. We're upset with him, but after things calm down, the guard goes away, and we wait to make sure. We sneak back into the garden. We get back to the fountain. I confront the group again. Like, "Hey guys, where are my firecrackers?" And I think to myself, maybe we should check the other booby traps. And I tell the group, "Hey, we should check the other booby traps." At that point, one of the kids says, "Hey, I have an idea. I have a small flashlight. We'll send one person out every time to check the booby trap that they set, and I'll shine the flashlight on them to make sure they're safe." Good idea. So we do this. Each one goes out. Come to find out that at least 2 other of the kids' traps have been tampered with. The last 2, not the ones closest to the fountains, only the last 2. Firecrackers were gone. I'm kind of upset about this. Confront the group again. This time, they empty their pockets. They pull their pockets out. Those of them that had pockets, obviously. No firecrackers were found. And I thought to myself, you know what? I've confronted them. Maybe if we play some more games, I've scared them enough to where they'll put them back. So I was like, forget it. Let's just continue playing hide and seek. And we figure out who's it next. And we go out and hide. When we get back from this next game, a couple of the kids seemed a little distressed, a little creeped out. They claimed that they felt like they were being watched as they were hiding. Everyone else kind of looked around. Well, I didn't feel like I was being watched. There was only a couple of them at that point. You didn't think anything of it. It must have been your imagination. So, we play another round. This round, I had come up with an idea that I'm going to hide as far as I can from the base, so I'm the last person to make it back. So I go out to as far as I can from the base, and I hide in a bush. And I wait. About a minute goes by. I can hear the other kids hiding ahead of me. About 10 feet to my right, I hear something rustling in a bush. And I think to myself, oh, someone's here. Someone's hiding here. I'm going to have to wait for them to leave before I go. And I'll know they've gone because I'll hear them moving around in the bush. So the rustling sounds like I can hear it about 10 feet away. It's rustling, and then it stops. And then I'm quiet. At that point, I don't hear the bugs anymore. I don't hear the fluttering of the bats above. I don't think anything of it, though. I'm just thinking I need to wait for that person to leave before I go. So I wait. And I can faintly hear in the background people running for the base, being chased. And then it all dies off. And I wait. And wait. Finally, I get impatient. I quietly get up, make it back to the base. I run the last few feet as I see the tagger trying to tag me, and I make it safe. And I go to sit down, and everybody's like, finally! I'm like, what do you mean finally? It's like, you were the last one. And then a chill goes down my spine as I'm thinking, I can't be the last one. There's still that person hiding where I was at, about 10 feet away from me from the bushes. I tell everybody this. We all get creeped out. At this point, I'm kind of scared. And I can tell everybody else is scared. We've had enough. We decide to leave the garden. So we make our way out. The one kid with the flashlight shining it as we're going through the bushes or the trails, and then we make it out of the garden, and we feel relief when we finally make it to the artificial light granted by the hotel. We're out of the garden, we're safe. We split up into 2 groups, as one group has to go this way to their rooms, and the group I'm with actually has the kid with the flashlight. And as we're walking, he's shining the light every now and then into the garden when there's space between the pillars and the outside walkway as we're going towards our rooms. As we get closer to my room, there was one little opening, and there's a big, like a hedge almost, that's completely almost obscures the view into the garden. And I remember him shining it into the hedge as we're walking closer. And as the light pans toward the middle of the hedge, all of a sudden it illuminates this red face just staring at us. It looked like the flesh had been peeled off. We scream. I run for my door. I slam into it. I rip it open and slam it shut behind me. In the process, my dad wakes up. He's not happy about being woken up. I'm scared and I rush to him. I tell him what we saw. I try to explain. He's like, no, it's just your imagination. There's nobody in the garden. Go to bed. I insist that that's what I saw. I saw a red face. It was in the garden. And it's nighttime and it's not supposed to be in there. And the garden, nope, your imagination, go to bed. Dad wouldn't believe me. Finally decided, all right, whatever, I need to go to bed. So I do a cleanup, jump into my bed. Now from my bed, you can see the door, and I can see the light coming in from the outside. And I'm laying there getting tired, eyes are getting heavy. Finally, just before I drift away, I see a foot appear in the front of my door. Don't see the foot, just the shadow that's being cast. It stops. I kind of wake up a little bit. Then another foot appears. It looks as if it is now standing in front of the door. This is where I start to get scared. It's just standing there. And I think to myself, the red face, did I lock the door? I don't remember locking the door. I am so terrified. I am frozen stiff. I don't say anything. I can't scream. I can hear the ringing in my ears. It's deafening as this thing is standing out in front of my hotel door, and I don't know if I've locked the door or not. It's going to get in. After what seems like forever, it slowly steps away. I don't get much sleep that night. But I do, however, fall asleep. The next day I wake up, come to find out the house is ready for us. To my relief, I don't have to spend one more night at the Maharaja Hotel. I do find out, some years later, the hotel burns to the ground. And that is the story of the Maharaja Hotel.
And you, midnight and a rendezvous. Your eyes held a message tender, saying I surrender all my love to you. Midnight brought us sweet romance. I know all my whole life through, I'll be remembering you, whatever else I do. night.